So in a game where Alyssa Thomas goes and balls out down a stretch, in a game where she goes and wins it, the dub, like, you can tell Alyssa Thomas is one of those people that is happy out with the WNBA imploding on itself. And by the way, like, she has now been on record to say that Angel Reese heard and put in a complaint, or not to say, sorry, to heavily imply that Angel Reese heard and put in a complaint about the Fever, and the Fever investigation was because Angel Reese heard something. That's just factually incorrect. Angel Reese has not said as much. She was asked, every time she was asked about what she heard, a Chicago Sky PR person came in and said, next question. She's already answered that. Next question. Anytime someone in the media, by the way, you had journalists criticizing the Chicago Sky for stopping other journalists asking questions about what Angel Reese heard. She just kept saying, if it happened to me, it can happen to anybody. And by the way, Alyssa Thomas is somebody who has gone and complained about the online trolls from the Indiana Fever. She complained about the Indiana Fever fan base during the playoffs, which were in Connecticut. And the only thing that was heard on the court during those playoffs was the person who allegedly started throwing insults at Caitlin Clark about her mother when Caitlin Clark was standing beside them, and they didn't even get kicked out for that. That is the only on-court thing that seemed to have been an issue. But let's take a listen to Alyssa Thomas, and this is audio from a clip from I Am Dana Scott. So let's take a listen.
As a league, we stick together as players. If she said she heard it, then we believe her. I believe her. I've heard a lot of things from the fans, and I think it's about basketball, and I think people have taken it too far. People come to games and think they can say and do anything they want, and it's unacceptable. It's something that we're going to continue to fight for, regardless if they found anything or not. I know there's a lot of players that have heard a lot of things, so we're just going to continue to support each other in that.
And the one thing I will say is that she didn't specify one group of fans, which is a big thing. And the weirdest thing about this is, sorry about the noises, I do apologize for some of the beeps. But one thing is she specifically was saying, it's like, we believe her. We believe her. And I'm like, she didn't say she heard anything. She didn't put in the complaint. The complaint was not put in by Angel Reese. It seems like. Because Caitlin Clark did not, or not Caitlin Clark, sorry. Angel Reese did not hear anything, it seemed. And to say that these players have not heard something from fans, I stand by this. We have heard, they literally wanted Dave Portnoy banned. These people have wanted Dave Portnoy banned from going to games for shouting, "Ball don't lie," posting that a player is classless, and saying they don't like a player. Nothing more than that. Nothing more than that. And at the same time, I'm sorry, players are going to get heckled. Players are going to get heckled. None of these players, when it comes to it, a lot of when these teams and players have talked about it, they are, a lot of time they consider heckling abuse. And that's where the problem is that, yes, I can guarantee you there are some players in the WNBA that have heard stuff that are completely out of line. But do you really think that these players, if there was actually slurs being said, the first thing they would do is not go to the referees to get a fan kicked out? The first thing they would do is not go to the media and say exactly what was said? Because let's be real, in a lot of situations, they deem heckling as abuse, as unacceptable. And they deem social media stuff as the same as game-going fans. And there's a big difference. There is a big difference. You can't police social media. And that's an unfortunate truth. Alyssa Thomas has 100% gotten stuff from everyone. From everyone. And by the way, all that this situation did is ruin her, I'm not sure, wife or fiance, ruin her partner's historic night. That's all it did. So her partner came out after that game and talked about how great the fans were that day. And she's now come out and said, yeah, we believe that this happened. If she says it happened, we believed it happened. First of all, Angel Reese never said it happened. She never said it happened. And also, you've now also got, I've saw a Twitter post of the person who originally started it and goes, Kathy Engelbert doesn't care what happens in this section. and she posted a picture saying she was from the section, and the picture that was posted was from the media, was from like the ESPN cameras where the media are, which is like a completely different number of a section. They just found the picture of someone at the game and posted it. And they were like, no, I was at the game, with like right beside where the cameras are, where there were no actual seats that were available for purchase. Like it's madness. It's madness. And then you have got USA Today, who spoke about it like it was fact. Spoke about it like it's fact after the Chicago Sky-Star claimed that a fan made. This did not happen. Corrections, clarification. Previous version of this story, incorrect to report the nature of a WNBA investigation into alleged hateful speech during a Fever game. WNBA did not specify who filed the report as to launch the investigation. Like, there is a 95% chance. Do you want to know why there's a 95% chance it's not Angel? Because her coach said the player said he didn't hear anything and the team didn't hear anything. The coach said the team didn't hear anything. And the worst part is if the report was put in by a player, who didn't hear anything, that is even scarier. If it is true that report was put in by Angel Reese, I'm going to give Angel Reese the benefit of the doubt. And by the way, looking at the stuff Angel Reese has been reposting on TikTok, I hope that she does not run her TikTok page. I hope that people are just reposting it, because she is reposting stuff saying that the Indiana Fever game bridge is a danger. And now you've got players basically saying that they believe her. They believe what? They believe what? She's refused to say what has been said. Anytime a journalist has tried to get anything, it was next question. She's not answering that. Why? Because the investigation started because of Twitter nonsense. There is almost a certainty that happened. Again, I am willing to retract every single statement I've ever made and apologize if the situation is different than what I described. I am willing to retract every single video and release an apology. I am willing to do that because at the end of the day, if you're someone like myself that is going to speak and give opinions on things, you have to be willing to admit when your opinions and your takes are wrong. That is an important thing. But I'm sorry, there is no benefit to be gained by branding every single fan of a certain team as racist. There's no benefit to be gained. And these players are going to do whatever they can to say it. And by the way, if Alyssa Thomas had just said, we all need to stick together. We all need to stick together to improve, or whatever. We believe stuff, or I don't even know how she can make the statement. If she wanted to make the WNBA arenas a safer place for players, they are a safe place for players. It is the most tame sports fans in the history of sports. They are the most tame sports fans you will ever see. I'm sorry, if you are a fan of any other sport, especially, if you are a fan of an English soccer team, and, there are lines, just send one of these WNBA journalists to one game, to one freaking Millwall Leeds game, I'm just trying to think, West Ham Millwall game. Send them to a West Ham Millwall game. Send them to a Celtic Rangers game. Heck, even send them to a Bowes Shamrock Rovers game. And see what they report. Send them to a Boca Juniors River Plate game. Send them to any of these games. If you there are sports situations where you might feel like you're freaking dangerous. There are times where players sometimes should feel afraid. If you are there for the Panathinaikos Olympiacos derby. Okay, understandable players, feeling a little bit iffy at those games. But what is the worst thing that can happen in a WNBA game? Dave Portnoy shouting "ball don't lie"? That's the worst thing that's happened. That is the worst thing that's happened. But anyway, yeah. That is the video. I'll see you guys.